Please welcome to the stage the CEO of the Marketing and Media Alliance, Greg Stuart.
If all members of the C-suite are paid based on growth, and they are, and the CMO in marketing is most responsible for growth, then why isn't she or he the most important person at the table? Why? Why not? If growth is the focus, and it is, and marketing is the growth engine, this should not even be a debate. And yet it appears that it is. Why? Now, I'm going to suggest today, and I believe, that the reason is that trust in marketing has always been fragile. And now I realize that that's uncomfortable, and I don't know that I necessarily like to come up and say this to a room of marketers, but if I ask you to reflect for a moment, it might be the best news I could share today. Because if lack of trust was somebody else's fault or some other external situation, then there's nothing we could do about it. But I believe, and I'm here today to suggest, that it is something we can fix. And to be clear, what I'm suggesting is really as old as human experience itself. Those of you who know the philosophy of Stoicism is basically focus on what you can control. Buddhism teaches us the same thing. Stop trying to fix the outside world, work on yourself, and psychology calls it an internal locus of control. So the good news is that this is ours to fix. Now, as the industry's association body for CMOs, I feel it's my responsibility to come and develop assessment and a thesis to share with you each year, as I've done for the last 3 years on this stage, even though those might be uncomfortable viewpoints sometimes. So in year one, if you remember, I said that marketing was where the medical profession was in the mid-1800s, when people believed that bloodletting was a good idea. And for centuries, it actually sounded really smart. It was, though, as it turned out, just an opinion. And they were dead wrong. Now, in year two years ago, I said we're too busy to do better, that we're buried in activity, drowning in deliverables, moving so fast that we didn't take enough time to stop and ask, is this the most powerful way to drive the business? And do we have the confidence to know that it really works? By the way, being too busy in business is actually the most expensive form of standing still there is. And last year, I argued that marketing is not yet a profession, meaning that few marketers are educated, certified in marketing the same way that architects and engineers are schooled in building science. Same for doctors, same for 90 other professions that exist out there. Marketers have tended toward applied experience with a dose of storytelling, but a profession does not advance through building, it advances through building knowledge, not through opinion. So maybe I should summarize for everybody just to be clear. I guess in year one, I said the profession, which I am a part of, is medieval. I said that you were too busy to fix. In year three, you weren't really a profession after all. So I'm as shocked as you are that I get invited back. So this year, I want to take another leap forward, right? Here's the crazy thing. The knowledge actually exists, everybody. We're just not universally applying it. The uncomfortable part of that is that marketing has not consistently, pervasively made scientific knowledge a part of our process. So this is not a call to go deliver a whole range of new insights, although that is the major focus of the Marketing Media Alliance. That's what we do in our think tanks. This is a call to codify and understand what's already been proven and start applying it. Make a commitment to, as I suggested even last year, scientific principles. In other words, it is time to end the age of opinion. So that brings us to the real issue, and I've said this before. In order to be a profession, you need to have a codified body of knowledge, one that the practitioners, you all, learn, believe in, and build on top of, just like the Hippocratic Oath for doctors. Now, the closest thing we have is a book called Empirical Generalizations About Marketing by Dominic Hassens at UCLA, published by the Marketing Science Institute. Begs another question, do you all even know who the Marketing Science Institute is? It was last updated, unfortunately, in 2015. It has 125 empirical generalizations of marketing that are based on 10,000 research papers. The challenge is, I have never met a marketer who knew about the book, let alone read it. So let me give you 3 examples of what exists in there. For advertising, where I grew up, many of you here are focused on, especially for Possible, the research shows that the median payoff on a 10% increase in ad spend is a 0.5% lift in sales. 0.5% in sales increase. Likely not profitable. And did you know that advertising impact has been declining every decade since the 1960s? Digital hasn't made things better at some level, is what that would suggest. And here's the part that we miss. We don't understand the long-term effect of brand. We talk about brand, but we don't really know what it is. Because listen, advertising's output is not an immediate sale, per se. It's a mental state that delivers long-term. The challenge is that we can't explain that to the CFO. Until now, more on that later. So let's take the world of promotions, one of my favorite ones. Promotions, settled knowledge there is that 75 cents of every promotional dollar goes to stealing a customer from your competitor who is spending the same to steal them right back. Only 10 cents of that dollar actually grows the category. For many brands, your heaviest users are major switchers. Promotions don't build demand, they just redistribute it. This might be the most expensive stalemate in business. And lastly, did you know, and this is the one that really got my attention the most in the book, distribution has 67 times the sales impact of advertising. Getting into one more shelf, one more channel moves more product than any purpose-driven campaign can do, or any media plan ever written. The most powerful decision that a marketer makes, that a brand makes, is where they show up. Trust me, as an ex-agency guy who spent a lot of time building ad campaigns, not knowing that fact concerns me. So the knowledge exists, everybody. It's been tested, proven, published, peer-reviewed, and as I said, I believe few in our profession are applying it. That's part of my thesis to you today. So that's the knowledge we've been ignoring for some number of decades, right? Empirical generalizations was first published in around 2005, 2010. I want to talk, though, a little bit about stuff that was happening more recently that in particular MMA has been focused on as a nonprofit without commercial interest. Let me be clear about that. Now, remember above I mentioned the financial contribution of brand. We are concluding a series of studies we've been working on for 5 years to identify what is the long-term sales impact of brand. We believe that number is 5x. Let me explain what that means. That for every $1 million of sales that you do today from the campaign, there's another $5 million of sales coming. That has never been measured before. We now understand a whole new dialogue that we can have with the CFO and even how to invest our own marketing funds based on that. The challenge is you do need to figure out what that is for your brand. So limited number of studies. Want to be careful about you running away with that, but there's still more work to be done on that. There is a methodology that can do that. See me. Or this is my favorite, the insane increase in impact that we've seen when AI-driven machine learning is used properly to serve personalized ads to audience cohorts. On average, based on the 30 lab experience for the ones just in the US, we've seen increases of plus 160%. That's more than double the impact of performance. Inconceivable that we wouldn't want to try to deliver a closer tuned message to a user than possible, and yet I've seen very few companies universally roll this out. So here's my point, right? You get the idea. Scientific and advanced knowledge is here today. We're just not universally applying it. And I want to take a moment to talk about AI, because I have spent a significant amount of time, as I hope most of you are, in trying to understand what that means. Let me be clear, though. Having now worked with AI and LLMs, having seen every marketing transformation and been in the front lines of that, internet, mobile, everything, these changes in marketing, these are transformational changes, and AI is absolutely revolutionary. It's like nothing I feel like I've ever seen, and anybody I know who's paying attention says the same thing. And it's definitely going to shape how advertising works and how marketers work. However, and you've got to learn AI fluency. Do not forget that. Like, you need to understand how to apply what type of AI in what situation and where. Like, you must figure that out and learn that inside in the same way you understand every other tool and business you have. That's not optional. But here's the thing. AI and the LLMs aren't going to solve our opinion challenge. Because if you ask an LLM what good marketing looks like, it gives you back the opinions that we've already collectively agreed on at some level, but they're not fact and they're not right. I know, I've looked at this, they are not right. And so if that's all flawed, the LLMs and ARs aren't going to save you from it, they're just going to scale the problem. If your assumptions are wrong, AI compounds the error. If your measurement is weak, it's going to make you feel more confident, but it's still going to be wrong. And if your theories of growth are made up, AI will industrialize them. So yes, learn AI fluency, but do not confuse learning the machines with knowing truth. So I said this last year. Why does this matter to me? I was presented with the opportunity about 20 years ago to develop multi-touch attribution as a methodology. And it gave me deep insight into what marketers were doing and how they were operating, and some of the decisions that they were making and doing well, and in many cases not so well. And that body of work, those studies over 5 years, of which there were about 24, showed me that campaigns failed 47% of the time before $1 of media was spent. That insight intensified my personal discomfort knowing that I wasn't fully confident in the recommendations I had been making to my agency clients for years. Marketing, a respected profession. That is our mission. That is part of my body of work to do that. But I can't do it alone, and this is my advocacy for everyone here if possible. None of us could. It requires an alliance. This includes all marketers and solution providers working together to improve marketing. It was best captured for us in our renaming of the MMA, or rebranding last year, to Marketing and Media Alliance. As I've often said, we did that in part because Luke Skywalker didn't start the Rebel Association, he started the Rebel Alliance. Commitment to scientific thinking and principles and approaches, because professions don't run on vibes. And let me kind of close with this. Imagine if marketing's impact were truly predictable, that the CMO were not the person fighting to defend a budget, but a critical and recognized partner in making the business grow, enriching everybody at the table. And imagine if we stopped acting like a collection of inconsistent opinions and became more of a real profession. Imagine if truth in marketing rose because predictability in marketing rose. Imagine if the rest of the company got out of the way when we walked down the halls because they were in such awe of what we had done and contributed. It could happen. It could happen. So that's our opportunity, everyone. This is our path. My thesis today is the age of opinion is ending. It needs to end. The next era belongs to those who can take knowledge and turn it into judgment, judgment into action, action into profitable growth. As predictable, profitable growth is going to build trust. So back to my earlier point about the opportunity for growth. MMA estimates, as scientifically and mathematically as we can, that if you execute what we believe to be true today, and you can, and that takes time, that you actually can push the evaluation of your company, if you do it before your competition, to be clear, as much as plus 20%. That's crazy. We're undervaluing marketing, I think. That's nuts. So who doesn't want to be known for accomplishing that, right? That's the goal. So the future of marketing is in your hands. That's the good news, everyone. Thank you.